Hello again, back with a little bit more information to help you through the rest of the assignments for this week. So in our current essay, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the summary and the analysis. So for some of you, it seems that you are talking more about the topic than engaging in your summary. And one thing that can help with this is using some signal words and phrases that sort of take us back to the article. So you can say things like, the author says, writes, argues, believes, shows, uses. So that way you're taking it back and making it very clear that you're writing about the article and not just generally speaking on the topic. Also, in the analysis, I know that's an area that students sometimes struggle with. Analysis seems kind of vague. And when I say rhetorical analysis, what I mean is we're looking at how the writer delivers his or her information. So we're not necessarily as focused on the content as we are how that content is delivered. So, for instance, if you were doing a rhetorical analysis of this video, you would probably say it's rather casual. I'm talking to you like you're sitting in front of me at the table where I work on my porch. I'm not using elevated vocabulary. I'm not being very stiff and stuffy and formal. I'm very much talking to you as though you're right in front of me. I'm not being incredibly formal, incredibly proper. I'm not standing up here with a stick pointing at the board or going through a PowerPoint presentation. And you might talk about my mannerisms, my tone of voice, the kind of wording that I'm using. Those are some examples of how we engage in rhetorical analysis as has been discussed in your text. So some of the things you can look at in the article are the structure, the language that's used, the tone, the kind of evidence that's used. Think about that and think about how you can provide some evidence from the text to support your claim. So for instance, if you talk about the language in the article, if you say that the language is very formal and confusing, then incorporate a sentence that shows us some of that confusing language and talk about it. This is something you're going to need to get used to. We're going to be using sources in most of our future writing, so you're going to need to get comfortable with quoting. And I'm just asking you to quote right now. I'm not asking you to paraphrase yet. I know we're not quite ready for that. So do start working in some of those quotations. You do need to introduce a quote, kind of like what I talked about with the signal phrases earlier, so-and-so writes, says, argues, believes. Then give the quote and use an in-text citation. So make sure that you do cite what you quote from your articles. I gave you some reading on that this week and some examples. And 2 of the Writing and Reading Center mini sessions, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, deal with MLA citations. So do remember you do have to incorporate some source material in this analysis. It helps prove your point. It's a good practice to have. It makes you look like an authority on the text that you are using. Also, to help you with this essay, I did post a rubric tonight, same one I'll use to grade your essay. You can kind of use it as a checklist to go over what you need to include in the essay and to make sure you're doing that well. If you go to the Writing and Reading Center, certainly take it with, it'll be there with you because it's online, right? So certainly use that there, and they can, look at the list and make sure you've got the pieces. Let's see, what else do I need to talk about? Oh yes, Turnitin. I know some of you have used Turnitin before. Some of you have been in other classes with me or have used Turnitin for your other classes. Turnitin is a plagiarism detection platform that we have available to us in Blackboard, but I don't use it to be the bad guy. One of the big reasons that I use Turnitin is because your originality report will help you make sure you don't accidentally plagiarize. Things that you quote and you have in quotation marks and that you've cited will certainly show up in Turnitin, but sometimes as we are getting used to quoting and paraphrasing and learning how to use sources, we make some mistakes. And the great thing about Turnitin, I've set it up so that you can check your originality report, and if you find you've made some errors, you can fix it before the deadline and resubmit your essay. So please use those originality reports. Turnitin was upgraded yesterday, and I have I've added a link to the student user manual. It's very similar to how it used to be. It's not terribly complex. It's basically you're attaching a file. Remember to use the links in our site though. Do not go to Turnitin.com to upload your paper. I put the link in the folder for that week. That said, I am trying to keep everything organized in weekly folders. I did add some things, as I mentioned, to the resources folder. One thing I wanted to draw your attention to there is I've got some flowcharts for run-ons and fragments. Those are two of the really big problems that I'm seeing in writing, and they're very fixable problems once you know what to look for. So if that's something you're having a lot of trouble with in your writing, you can certainly use those flowcharts to help you. And I put them in the resources section just so you wouldn't, later in the semester have to flip through those folders. The Turnitin Student User Manual is close to the top of the Assignments and Information section. Once we've gone through our assignment, I'll bump it over to the Resources section of the site as well. So make sure you use Turnitin. Remember that when you're summarizing, that should be in your own words. If you're using the author's words, that should be a direct quote and treat it as such. If you have some questions about that, do review the readings on quoting this week and then let me know what specific questions you had. The last thing that I'll talk about tonight in our video, I did add another content area to the course, and it will say WRC mini sessions. In the syllabus, there is the discussion of the Writing and Reading Center. You are required to utilize the Writing and Reading Center in some form for this class, and you need to do so at least 4 times. Now, I know some of you can't get to campus. You're taking a distance course, and a lot of you aren't just doing that because, you like distance education. A lot of you are doing it because you just can't get to school. So you do have the option of using the online writing lab, which you need to do for at least 2 of your essays. I recommend that you do it more. Go early, go often, use it as much as you can. The other thing that you can do is you can use the Writing and Reading Center mini sessions. We have a great variety of those sessions. We've got, I think, 6 or 7 up, and what you do is you go look at the information, watch the video, and in the coming days I'll have some tests added to the folder so you can take those tests to show proficiency. If you choose to use the Writing and Reading mini sessions as part of your Writing and Reading Center participation, you need to do at least 2, and you also need to use the online writing lab at least 2 times. So be sure to check out the sessions, and I'll have the tests up for you as soon as I can. So those are the big things. I'm sure I have forgotten something, and you'll probably find me popping on here sometime tomorrow to tell you just one more thing. Here it is. I did extend the deadline for your essay. It was originally due Thursday night, June 4th at midnight. Because it took me so long to turn around feedback, I felt that was a very unfair crunch even in this very short summer session, so I am giving you until Friday night at midnight to get those in. If you have already submitted and want to resubmit, you can do that. I have the Turnitin assignment set up to take resubmissions until midnight or 11:59 p.m. Friday night. That said, it may not generate a new report for you immediately, but the file should go through. Those are the big things. Tomorrow I will have to be away from my computer during my virtual office hour. I'll check my email as best as I can. Also, please understand I have a very high email and grading volume right now. I've got 60 students, and I'm hearing from a lot of people. I am doing my best to turn around responses in a timely fashion. There will be some times when I'm a little bit slower, and I apologize for that. I want to give everybody as much attention as I can, and it's really hard when I have a lot of people and I can't see you in front of me. That said, if we need to set up some virtual conferences or something, I'll be glad to work that out. Take care. Thank you for all your hard work. I know this summer semester is tough, but you all are doing some good work. Keep at it. Keep practicing. Also remember, these first writing assignments are lower stakes assignments. The weight goes up as the semester moves on. So if you're not happy with your grades right now, we've got time to improve that. So please don't be discouraged. I do want you to succeed, and I want to help you in any way I can. So take care. Keep doing good work, and if you have questions, please email me. Have a good night.